Good morning again. 3:30 on a Sunday morning for the second week running. Although probably not according to the videos, but yes, it is a second week running. Oh, light's gone out. We're going to be heading today to Gibraltar from Gatwick and then back to Heathrow. See how it goes. Okay, so once again, we've just driven to Gatwick in the morning, 3:30 departure from house. So we're now parked up and we're going to walk over and head to the North Terminal for our flight.
And welcome on board.
Made it through security and just in the North Terminal now. Today with EasyJet from Gatwick's North Terminal to Gibraltar, and then we're coming back later with British Airways to London Heathrow rather than Gatwick. Gibraltar only has 3 return flights today. Sunday the 25th of Jan is the day that I flew. We're on the second flight. Flight time of just under 3 hours is normally scheduled. I've been told that this is a really good one for the aviation fans. The landing is synonymous with a short runway and particularly occasional circumstances which can affect the weather and the landing. So, you know, it's going to be an interesting flight. The rest of the flight sort of goes over Channel Islands, southwest, probably across over northern Spain and then across Spain. So yeah, we're going to be heading on board shortly and heading on that flight. Recently voted in Time Out's best and most beautiful places in the world, the Picos de Europa National Park in northern Spain is seen below. Flying conditions for most of this flight were really nice, really smooth, and this was a beautiful view. As you'll now see though, conditions started to change. As we flew over the south of Spain, the weather did deteriorate, and as the pilot had made us aware at the start of the flight that the aim was to go for Gibraltar and try and land in Gibraltar as well. At this point, the pilot was making us aware of water spouts that were impacting the ability to land around Gibraltar. And he comes on to announce in a few moments exactly what the conditions are.
Update once again. We just have to hold short. We're about 20 miles to the east of Gibraltar at the moment. The wind speed at the moment are out of our limits. An aircraft earlier did make a landing, so that's good news. There's quite a heavy shower at the moment passing through Gibraltar. So I think that may be what's causing the wind to sort of dip slightly out of our limits. Hopefully once that's passed through, maybe an opportunity for ourselves to make an approach. I think that could take about 10 minutes, so we're going to just sit tight here for that period and see what happens a bit later on. Thanks very much for bearing with us.
And circle as we did for about 45 minutes, as can be seen on the map, before attempting our landing at Gibraltar.
towards Malaga, which is the diversion airport when going around most of the time at Gibraltar. And as the storm had headed easterly at that point, the landing at Malaga proved to be somewhat windy as well, although brilliantly done again by the pilot, and the safer of the options, of course. So after a flight time of 3 hours and 23 minutes, we landed at Malaga.
Okay, so we attempted to land in Gibraltar, but the pilot had to do a go around. He did try, we were circling for about half an hour before then making an attempt where there was a break in the weather. Yeah, attempted it, but go around. So that's another thing to add to the list of things that I've now done. So yeah, go around at Gibraltar, then decided to divert to Malaga, as can be expected if there's bad weather. So we're now going to get a bus which will take us to Gibraltar. Catch you in a bit. We are finally here, about 4 hours after our scheduled arrival time. Coach has taken us from Malaga International to Gibraltar. We're just on the border, La Linea, to go across now, cross the border, and then check the airport, I think, basically to get any indication of if our flight back tonight is going to go. We're on the 6 o'clock departure local time to Heathrow, which is now just 3 hours. It's definitely windy here, but it doesn't feel maybe as bad as it was earlier. So hopefully that plane can land as normal and take off. One of the British Airways planes earlier this morning did get the opportunity to land and take off as well. It's limited our time of exploring Gibraltar, but you know me, I don't normally go around the area that much, so it's fine. Airport to airport, job done. We're just going to pass through the border control now. Wouldn't be a visit to Gibraltar without crossing the runway, so we're now going to have a look across the runway and walk to the other side. wasn't, to be honest, again, as I've said before, when these experiences happen, I don't want to sort of make it frightening for people that are not great with flying. That's the whole purpose of why I'm trying to obviously not impact people's, fear of flying, having done it myself. So it was windy on the descent, and I think there's two ways of looking at it. One, the pilot sort of making us aware that we weren't 100% sure to land in Gibraltar because there was weather issues possibly that were going to affect landing, does maybe make you worry throughout the flight. On the flip side to it, attempting to land and ending up where you need to be is obviously what most people want, to understand that. But there is that anxiety at the end of the flight that you're like, well, are we going to land or is it going to be bumpy? The descent was a little bumpy in the bad weather, but it wasn't too bad. And then the go around, which happened, to be honest, it actually, as soon as the pilot made the decision to go around, you could feel obviously the plane accelerate and then go up, and it wasn't too disconcerting, to be honest. The unknown, I think, was maybe the confusion. I think once we knew we then landed at Malaga, everyone was actually quite happy to just go for that. And then the weather at Malaga, to be honest, was also quite windy. I don't know if that airport has a reputation for being a little bit windy to land in, but that was a fairly windy landing in itself. So all in all, nothing to be too scared of at all. I mean, it wasn't comfortable. I wouldn't have fancied that on the first time I've ever gone on a plane. It would have been a little bit disconcerting, but it's getting better and better, and blessed with a safe landing into Malaga. So we're hoping that the British Airways flight that's going to take us back tonight from Gibraltar to London Heathrow will land and then be able to take off and take us back. I would really... Gibraltar does have a really cool viewing terrace just by the cafe at the arrivals hall. You can come upstairs. Obviously it's windy. There's like an outdoor porch bit, but you get a fantastic view of the rock and the runway to see our plane come in. Just in the departures lounge now, and I've been watching on Flight Radar if our flight is about to land. It looks like it's making its final approach, so we're going to switch the camera and see. Here we go, it's coming down, it's going to land. There we are, here he comes. Yes, the understandable sigh of relief from everybody here. Still very windy, of course, but as you'll see, sat at the back of this British Airways A320, I didn't have a window
I believe it was seat 31F, which doesn't have a window at the back. So unfortunately, there's no footage of what was a magnificent takeoff in the wind. And obviously there's not much footage of the flight. So I do apologise for that, but we're soon to land back at Heathrow.
Okay, landed back at Heathrow. A few minutes late, but a very nice flight. Smooth landing and a really nice flight as well. And I'm just going to try and get a bus to Gatwick now so we can get back to our car where it's parked. Catch you in a bit.
So we made it onto our Flixbus service, just £17 to Gatwick Airport.
We are back at Gatwick, and just like last week, we've gone the very long way around. We've gone from Gatwick to Malaga to Gibraltar, back to Heathrow, and then Flixbus then, a bit race of the world style, race across the world style on a Flixbus. Very polite driver, really good drive, and has dropped us off at the North Terminal. We're going to ride the monorail back to the South Terminal where my car is parked nearby, and then we're going to head back in the car back to Wiltshire. It's been an adventure. Hope you've enjoyed the complete randomness of it all, and I'll catch you soon. Take